Welcome back to our next episode of People Perspectives. I'm Travis Brashear with Lockton, and we're going to talk to one of our favorite clients and one of my favorite people in the industry. Welcome the VP, Vice President of Human Resources for BMC, Lynn Moffett. Thank you for making the time to spend with us today. Well, I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned, and I know enough to know that you've got this sort of people and spaces strategy or background or pillar or foundation. People and spaces. Talk a little bit about how we landed on connecting people and spaces. What's that mean to you guys?
Right. So underneath the umbrella of people and spaces, really think of people as the HR organization arm, right? So think about your traditional business partner, your payroll, your total rewards. And then spaces is really all about really the traditional real estate and facilities function. But putting them together really puts together a great employee experience overall. As we really think about the overall strategy from our company's perspective, there's three core pillars that we do think about as it relates to our overall strategy and what we're driving as a function. Yep. And those areas are within the realm of culture, experience, and growth. And so those are really the three areas that we talk about quite a bit.
All right. So which one's your favorite one to talk about? Culture?
Culture. I love culture.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So I know DEIB, pay equity, I know it's, a hot topic for you and something you're very passionate about. So give us a sense of what does that mean in the BMC world to you?
Right. So, for us, from a BMC perspective, really, we sit back and we think about DEIB and the work that we're doing in this space. We think about it first and foremost from our value proposition. And it's really our overall values that are so important to us as a company. And one of the things that I really love about BMC, two of our core values that we have are doing the right thing as well as prioritize people. And I think, really when you think about the work from a DEIB perspective, both of those values really kind of shine and really connect with that. And when I think about putting my total rewards hat on, and we think about the space around pay equity, pay transparency, that is probably one of the most rapid changing areas of total rewards that I have seen in quite some time. And one of the areas that we have been really proud of is just the work that we have been doing to get in front of all of the all of the trends here from a pay transparency and a pay equity perspective. And it's also been important to us to not only do this work well internally, but to also then be able to talk a little bit about it more externally. And as a part of being able to do that external discussion around what we're doing, we also invited in then a company called the Fair Pay Certification. And they actually are external auditors that come in and they have certified us in terms of the work that we are doing on a pay equity perspective. Wow. So that is something that helps to support a lot of different accreditations or a lot of different questionnaires that our customers even send in to us around what are your pay equity practices. So
it's like a seal of approval.
It's like a seal of approval, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And these are the things that help us to support all of our business propositions and our contracts ultimately with our global multinational customers, for whom these areas are also really important for us to be able to win their business too.
Is that tied to the growth piece, or is the growth sort of a personal growth, but also a business growth? Or is it
well, of course, we're always looking for business growth, right? But when we think about growth from the people perspective, then that's really tying into a lot of our talent management work that we have really instituted. And if you think about the hot topic of skills, right? That is all out in terms of really what companies are looking at, especially as you think about how technology is really evolving the skill landscape, and it's going to continue to really evolve that skill landscape. Right. So we're absolutely no different, and that is actually very much in the forefront of how do we get better around that conversation around skills? How do employees really identify what skills are needed for them to have to excel in their jobs today, but also to continue to grow in the future and to be future ready, to be ready for what are those new hot skills coming.
So what about the experience piece? How does that mix in?
On the experience piece, that really focuses in a lot on employee listening and getting really transparent around that feedback loop that we have with employees around employee listening and going out there, soliciting their feedback and understanding where we are from a culture perspective, and then getting the power back into the hands of the managers on how they can react to that feedback. So that's been a core part of how we've thought about experience and delivering that into the company.
not to put you on too much of the spot, right? But can you think about, give me an example of how, sort of the focus on the pay equity piece has changed the way you hire or the type of person you hire. Like, is there a noticeable before and after from a talent perspective that you can point to?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's not a noticeable before and after, but what I would say about the talent market is that they are demanding this pay transparency. So as we think about the why around why do you want to start going out with pay transparency, putting those band ranges out for your new hire positions before you may need to and before you're required to from just a compliance perspective. And really, we thought about this in 4 different ways. One, we start with the values, right? What is the right thing to do from a company perspective? And this is the right path for us to be on. But also, the reality is the talent market is just different. It's different than when I started in it. I'm not going to say how many years ago, but when I started, people didn't talk about what they were making. Right. Now they put it out on TikTok, right? And right. Or in their blog. So it's just a different mindset and a different expectation. And people recognize that if they go through a talent and acquisition process where people aren't treating them fairly, that tells them an awful lot about the company to begin with. And then they're just going to not want to go seek you out and be a part of your company experience.
Yeah, it's great for you to dive in, share a little bit more, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And we can't wait to see what's next. We also appreciate you being a client. So thank
Absolutely.
You for that. But
thank you for the partnership.
This is a great way to share your story, and we look forward to getting it out there. So
sounds great.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on People Perspectives.